Shalom, shalom, shalom. Call hello Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. Once again, double honors go out to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. This is Nama with the DC camp, and what we have here, it's like a lot of you people out there continue to, fan your hand. These guys out here on the corners are crazy, but I challenge you to read those scriptures for yourself. All right, the prophets weren't uh, didn't have so-called letters. They didn't have degrees, especially from your enemy. And that's what a lot of you fail to realize when it comes to these churches, these preachers, so-called. They're in league with your oppressor. They have 501c3 uh, charters, and as such, they can't tell you certain things because they are bought and paid for. All right. So here we are. This is from NPR, and it says retired general warns the U.S. military cut back a coup after the 2024 election. My reason for starting off like I did. All right. Like I said, I challenge you to read those stories. All right. Go to Acts in particular. These men were perceived as being unlearned. Again, going back to those letters, or in today's terminology, degrees, even though you haven't picked up on the fact that that's Masonic as hell, because this is a spiritual matter, first and foremost, and you're dealing with certain oppressed people that happen to belong, all right, to the Most High. All right, so these people that were out there before all these kingdoms fell, they didn't give a damn about what the quote unquote state, what the government thought. They were out there to prophesy against them. That's my point. All right. So for those of you that continue to seek salvation through these whorehouses that are called churches, hey, that's on you. But anyway, back to this article here. We're doing the same thing, and the signs are pointing more and more. All right, this thing is getting ready. The bottom is getting ready to fall out this bitch. Anyway, it says retired general warns the U.S. military cut back a coup after the 2024 election. In other words, what happened a year ago is just a foreshadowing. All right, think about it. All the things that led up to the first one and what's happened since then. All right, people continue to be shafted with this so-called medical emergency. All right, keep playing with you as far as, well, we're going to ease this restriction. Oh no, we got to bring it back because we found something out there more deadly. More bullshit, and people are fed up. All right, and this is mostly due to America's exceptionalism being turned in on itself. All right, these people are so proudful. We're free, we're free, we're free. No, you, no, nope. No, you weren't. You never were. It's just an illusion. Especially you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, that illusion in no way applied to you. So how you could ever, I'm not going to even go there. But anyway, let's get back to this. So here you see a major general here, and he's like, a lot of these military, especially at the top like him, they see things that you ordinary citizens, and they're privy to knowledge that you're not. All right. It says, as the anniversary of the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol approaches, 3 retired U.S. generals have warned that another insurrection could occur after the 2024 presidential election, if we make it that far. Let me put that out there. The generals, Paul Eden, who is, that's his caption there, Antonio Taguba, and Stephen Anderson, made their case in a recent Washington Post op-ed. In short, we are chilled to our bones at the thought of a coup succeeding next time. Paul Eden, a retired, again, this is him here, a retired U.S. Major General and a senior advisor to Vote Vets, spoke with NPR's Mary Louise Kelly earlier this week. All right. And here's the question. She says, how could a coup play out in 2024? The real question is, does everybody understand who the duly elected president is? If that is not a clear-cut understanding, that can infect the rank and file or at any level in the U.S. military. And we saw it when 124 retired generals and admirals signed a letter contesting the 2020 election. We're concerned about that, and we're interested in seeing mitigating measures applied to make sure that our military is better prepared for a contested election should that happen in 2024. All right. How worried is he on a scale of 1 to 10? I see it as low probability, high impact. I hesitate to put a number on it, but it's an eventuality that we need to prepare for. In the military, we do a lot of wargaming to ferret out what might happen. You may have heard of the Transition Integrity Project that occurred about 6 months before the last election. We played 4 scenarios. And what we did not play is a U.S. military compromise, not to the degree that the United States is comprised today, as far as 39% of the Republican Party refusing to accept President Biden as president, but a compromise nonetheless. So we advocate that that particular scenario needs to be addressed in a future war game held well in advance of 2024. So some more exercises. All right, like hint, hint, you know, wink, wink. All right, and to this day, they're still handing down sentences for these people here. But yeah, this guy, our civics lessons week T to stave off an insurrection. Let's get some more articles here. Uh, let's see. You got 200 Marines removed or discharged for defying. They didn't want to get the jab. 622 people who got the jab died. 64% were so-called white. So-called anti-vaxxers stormed COVID. This is over in England, and they wrecked the equipment. All right, that's not what I wanted. See, Big Pharma created 9 new billionaires in the last 2 years. Let's see, what was I looking for? Here it is. 62% of Americans expect, 62%, who did this poll, of Americans expect future presidential elections will see violence over losing. More than 60% of Americans believe future presidential elections will see violence break out over the results. CBS News YouGov poll. Hey, what we've been telling you all along. Let's go to Mark 3. All right. It's never, well, you got to understand that this is the new normal. You're not going back to the way things used to be, you know, where you can go out and do what you want and go out to the club. See, we told you it was more going on out here than what meets the eye. All right, this isn't your local politicians as such. No, these orders are coming down by the people that are ordering them to do this shit. These doctors and everything, they're working all together. The thing is, they don't want you to know that. This thing is layered, all right? You got military working with the medical establishment, which is working with the media. All right, and it goes higher than that. Ultimately, it's trickling down from the elites. All right, these banking families, these people in these all these the CFRs and all this, the Bilderbergs, all this shit. They represent the elites. All right, this trickle down shit. This is Mark 3, and it's time. They know their time is short, as we keep telling you about Revelation 12 and 12. All right, uh, and he called them unto him that he is Yahweh Shai, and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against Satan, or against himself, and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. All right? And what he's done to so many over the time, 27, no man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. And this, he's in the process of being spoiled and thus bound. All right? Again, he knoweth he hath but a short time. So he's got to hurry up and try to set up his new world order. And for those of you, whenever you heard that expression, you laughed, I dare you to laugh now. Okay, back to the article. See you. Oh, and it's worse things coming. All right, it's worse things coming. Just hold on. The CBS News YouGov poll found that 62% of respondents said they think there will be violence or losing, while just 38% said they believe the losing side will concede peacefully in future elections. Nah. The poll surveyed 2,063 adults from December 27th to the 30th and had a margin of error plus minus 3.5 points. The poll also surveyed respondents about whether they would personally support violence in a future election. 72% said they would not, while only 2% said they would. But 25% said it depends on the circumstance. When broken down by party, 3% of Democrats and 2% of Republicans said they would support violence. 82% of Democrats and 67% of Republicans said they would not. 15% of Democrats and 30% of Republicans say they might, depending on, again, the circumstances. The poll comes just days before the first anniversary of the violent January 6th riot, when a mob of Trump supporters broke into the U.S. Capitol as Congress prepared to certify the 2020 presidential election. It says rioters believe claims that the 2020 election was stolen from former President Donald Trump through widespread voter fraud. No credible evidence has been presented to back up these claims, and to prove how stupid you people are, you gotta realize, you know what? That's giving people too much credit. A lot of people, let me rephrase that. A lot of people to this day refuse to believe the truth, and that's all these motherfuckers are working together. All right. It's like the late comedian George Carlin said. He said, this is an exclusive club, and you're not invited. All right, you're not a member. All right, it says some of the rioters injured D.C. Metropolitan Police Officer Michael Fanone. I guess that's how you say his name. While he and others held off rioters at the entrance, the attackers used a stun gun on him, blah, 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 skipping down. Several rioters have since faced charges for their role. All right, you can read that on your own. Another poll released Saturday also found that fewer than half of Americans are confident that GOP state officials would accept election results in future elections. Future elections, their party loses. Yeah, but they're not the only ones. Okay, look at this. Eric Swalwell tells MSNBC that 2022, because we're coming to the midterms now. Could be the last. See, people forget about that. Could be the last U.S. election ever if Democrats don't win because, like I said, a lot of people don't realize that both of these motherfuckers are working together. So what they're going to do now, they're looking at all this shit that's gone down with these uh, uh, mandates, uh, people losing their jobs, all this shit. And I, for one, I just, I just don't see the Democrats winning anything. Again, you're being played, people. It doesn't matter. All right, both of them are going to fulfill the agenda of the elites. That's just the way it is. Or they're going to be up out of there one way or the other. All right. Here's the next one. Republican vote. Oops. What the hell did I do? Here it is. Salakia. Come on now. Here it is. Republican voters don't actually believe the big lie about January 6th. They're in on the con. See? It's time for Democrats to remind Republicans the GOP is very much in the minority. A third of Americans, say violence against government sometimes justified a year on from Capitol riot. I just read that one at the top. Most Americans say punishments against Capitol rioters are not harsh enough. In this next one, 6 in 10 Republicans don't believe January 6th Capitol attack was very violent. But you know, if those had been our people, they would have had many guns out there, machine guns and all kinds of stuff. It would have been a bloodbath. And here's something more direct to the point. We, Americans, Salaki for the slow connection, are now in a cold civil war. Yes, indeed. Look at this. I might should have led off with this. I didn't see it before. Albuquerque Express. Despite Joe Biden's promise of unity during his 2020 U.S. presidential campaign, his administration has failed to unify the people. All right? I would argue, and this is from, again, the Albuquerque Express, I would argue that America has already fallen into what might be termed a cold civil war following the 2020 election. We, the people, just do not see eye to eye on several significant issues. And it doesn't help that many of those were thrown at us all at once, beginning with the bug. Since the first lockdown that pummeled our economy, Americans have been at fierce odds with each other over almost everything, especially if it's bug related. We vehemently disagree over the bug juice, the cards, the mandates, and the mask. And President Biden isn't exactly trying to douse the flames with his divisive language. Of course not. In February of last year, he didn't, because it's going to be another strain that mysteriously pops up out of nowhere. All right, until everybody gets that. It's all about the shot, people. Forget all this bullshit about what's supposed to be out there. They want you to get this shot. All right. This is like a stage or another stage in what they really are after. All right. In February of last year, he demanded the bug juice compliance for all federal workers. Then in September, he shocked America with his comment that his patience is wearing thin, with the millions of Americans who didn't want the shots. This was a bizarre statement coming from a U.S. president. Duh. Especially since Americans, including those who chose not to be get the juice, are the people he works for. Wink, wink, or not. Then in late December, echoing his dark winter remarks from his 2020 debates, he addressed the American people in two separate categories: the juiced and unjuiced. We are looking at a winter of severe illness and death for the unjuiced. For themselves, their families, and the hospitals they'll soon overwhelm. Attempting to coerce a population by using fear and intimidation is not behavior typical of an American president. Clearly, you hadn't caught on to what's going on here, guy. Those who voted for him may not see it, and those who did not vote for him undoubtedly feel even more disenfranchised. Yet, while the Biden administration remains laser focused on all things bug, the leading cause of death in the U.S. for those between the ages of 18 to 45 is fentanyl. See, these curses are being transferred to these devils. There was a report that came out in Oregon. I think it was 622 that died. All right. 60%, 64% of those were so-called white people, Edomites, that got the juice in them. All right. Now you're going back to this fentanyl. The drug is flowing into the country as a result of the crisis at our southern border, which has been disastrous for both America and Mexico and highly profitable for drug cartels and human traffickers. See what you did to us with the so-called war on drugs? These things are coming back on you. Let's go to, I mentioned it in passing, but this is prophecy. This is Deuteronomy 30:7. What did our oppressor do? To break up our families, all right, and get our people hooked. Deuteronomy 30:7, it says, and the Most High Yahweh, thy power, not everybody else's, will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. All right. And that's what's happening. It's right in their face. They just can't see it because these are not spiritual people. They are very carnal. All right. At the same time, our country is being battered with back-to-back crises, including record high crime in our major cities, which was always orchestrated for one reason or another. Usually had to do with gentrification. All right, and the never-ending pandemic. Biden can't shut down after all, with Americans simultaneously being forced into poverty, hit with hyperinflation not seen since the era of Jimmy Carter. America's middle and lower classes are struggling. Gas prices are soaring, food is more expensive, and now we have a housing market where only the wealthy can afford to buy single-family homes. With a have and have not economy, it's only to be expected that citizens will grow restless. And that's why I said earlier that the 2022, the midterms coming up, I see it as a clean sweep. He's going to be a lame duck with 2 years to go. All right. Still, all of this, while enough to make an already frustrated population become increasingly agitated, fearful, and angry, is only the surface of what deeply divides us. This critical race, see, here it is. We are divided over critical race theory. It's not a theory. It's fact. See, you've lived this life for so long that you are a upright and just people when you're not. Now that the truth is coming out, you're ashamed. That's Habakkuk 2nd chapter. Let's go there real quick. You are ashamed, and rightfully so, because you're pieces of shit. All right? You are savages. That's what you people are. This is Habakkuk, you so-called white people, you Edomites, as the Bible call you. Habakkuk 2:16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Oh, shit. You let anybody else tell it? This image he's built up for himself, the so-called white man could not do wrong. No, you're wrong. What are you doing criticizing it? He was their God. This is Lamentations 4 and 21. It says, Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. What's that cup? Slavery and everything else he put on our people. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. You're being exposed, dude. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion, meaning us. All right? Those curses are slowly being lifted and they're being transferred onto our enemy, chiefly the nation of Edom, the so-called white man. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. And that's what's happening now. Critical race theory, my ass, is critical race facts. You're just being exposed, and you know that your time is short. Revelation 12 and 12. Hey, so you can read the rest of this on your own. It's a good read. Like I said, I should have led with this. All right. It says, maybe something else here. It says, even if we vehemently disagree on politics, masks, vaccines, immigration protocols, guns, environment, and more, we need to fight for our right to exist as a nation. No, you don't. Because we as the people on the bottom have had enough. Fuck this place. If we continue to allow the ruling class the unprecedented authority they have recently acquired under the cloak of the bug, they will use any excuse to control every aspect of our lives, and our freedom will be eroded in the same way one goes broke. Gradually, then all at once. It's too late. It's too late. See, you dismissed everything as conspiracy theory, and that unwillingness to believe that these people are so evil and that would do anything, all right, to attain their goal, you lost out. Conspiracy theory. All right? Goes on to say that's the real war being waged right now, and it's long past time we all wake up and see it. It's too late. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or neither, we can go back to arguing about politics and masks after we regain power for the people. You know, like I said, it's a fuck it. You know, this place is out of here. Jeremiah, let me see if I can get that real quick. There's no healing the bruise of, well, fuck this place. Jeremiah, let's see, 50, let's see, wait a minute, it might have been 51. Yeah, it was. Hold on. This is Jeremiah 51, and let me see. 7. Yeah, straight to the point. Babylon, America, Babylon the Great, hath been a golden cup in the Most High Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. How did it make the earth drunken? With their philosophy, democracy, their doctrine. All right? The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad because they figured out it's all bullshit. It's wicked, it's evil. They're telling people you got to allow homosexuality and all this other shit. And that's not the people's customs. 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. Nope. Nope. It's out of here. It's done. All right. Job 14 and 5. There's a boundary by which this man cannot pass. His time is up. His time is up. 9. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. All right? And that's echoed throughout this. I'm thinking of, in my head, Isaiah 13th chapter. For those of you Jakes, you Israelites that are hand in hand with these devils, hey, you got to go too. And you're going to go. You allied yourself with the enemy, hey, oh well. All right. So I will put these articles, as many as I can, into the description box, and you can read those for yourself. But as for what the point I made, oh yeah, this place is out of here. There is no healing it. All right. This is the Most High's work. So with that, Shalom, Malcolm, Shalom, and a few Aquath that are watching. Salutations to the Akim out there across the four corners, pushing this truth in all honesty and sincerity. So with that, Shalom.